The bench by the sea had become her place of silence. Every morning she sat there while the waves moved in slow rhythms, rising and falling like breathing she struggled to steady. She never looked at the horizon for long. Instead, she watched the water touch the shore and retreat, as if even the sea understood how to leave without explanation. She was a mother before she was anything else. That truth shaped her days and haunted her nights. Once, her life had been full of shared routines: morning tea, folded laundry, quiet conversations that felt safe simply because they were familiar. Now, those routines echoed like empty rooms. Her husband's absence was not sudden. It had arrived slowly, disguised as late evenings, unanswered messages, and a growing distance that words could not bridge. She had sensed the change long before she understood it. Infidelity rarely announces itself loudly. It enters softly, hiding behind excuses and silence. When the truth finally surfaced, it came without drama. No shouting, no tears at first. Just a confirmation that what she feared had been real. Another woman. Another life he had chosen to step into while she stayed behind, holding together a home that was already cracking. The loss that followed was not only of a marriage. It was the loss of trust, of shared dreams, and of the future she had imagined for her child. She carried that weight alone, careful not to let it spill into her child's world. A mother learns quickly how to hide pain behind steady hands. The bench by the sea became her witness. She brought no phone, no book, no distractions. Only thoughts she could no longer avoid. She replayed moments, searching for the exact place where everything changed. But infidelity does not have a single beginning. It grows in neglect, in unspoken needs, and in choices made quietly. Some days she blamed herself. Other days she felt anger rise like a storm. Most days she felt tired. Healing did not feel like progress. It felt like survival as the waves continued their endless return. She realized something painful and honest. She could not change what had happened, but she could decide what the loss would take from her next. The bench did not offer answers, but it offered space. And for now, space was enough. Life after betrayal moved slowly, measured by school mornings and quiet evenings. She learned how to keep routines intact while her heart felt uneven. Breakfast was served on time. Clothes were folded neatly. Homework was checked carefully. From the outside, nothing appeared broken. Inside, everything had shifted. She often wondered how betrayal could exist alongside ordinary life. How could someone promise loyalty and still choose deception? The questions followed her through the day, but she never allowed them to reach her voice. Her child deserved stability, not explanations filled with pain. Night. When the house settled into silence, the weight returned. She remembered moments she once trusted. Shared laughter, plans whispered in the dark, promises made without hesitation. Infidelity had rewritten those memories, turning comfort into doubt. She did not speak badly of her husband in front of her child. That was a boundary she protected fiercely. Love for a child requires restraint, even when anger demands release. She believed that healing should not be built on bitterness. Still, loneliness found its way into the smallest moments. A chair left empty, a decision made alone, a future now uncertain. She felt grief not only for what was lost, but for the version of herself that once believed love was enough to protect a family. The sea remained her quiet companion. She returned to the bench whenever the world felt too heavy. There she allowed herself to feel everything she hid elsewhere. Tears came without sound. Anger passed like a strong wind. Acceptance arrived slowly, never staying long. Motherhood changed the way she experienced pain. She could not collapse. She could not disappear into sorrow. Every day required her presence, her patience, her strength. Infidelity had tested her limits, but motherhood expanded them. She began to understand that healing did not mean forgetting. It meant learning how to carry the truth without letting it define every step. Betrayal had entered her life, but it did not own her identity. As she sat by the sea one evening, watching the sky dim, a quiet realization settled in. Her child was watching her, even when she thought no one was looking. Healing was not only for herself, it was a lesson she was teaching without words. And that realization changed the way she faced the days ahead. Healing did not arrive suddenly, came through small decisions made repeatedly. She chose honesty over denial. She allowed herself to name the betrayal without softening it. Infidelity was not a misunderstanding. It was a choice, and acknowledging that truth gave her clarity. She stopped waiting for apologies that might never come. Closure, she learned, is not always given by others. Sometimes it is built quietly. Through acceptance and boundaries, she began speaking again. Not to accuse, but to express. Conversations were calm, measured, and firm. She defined what respect meant to her now. Motherhood had sharpened her sense of responsibility, not just toward her child, but toward herself. The bench by the sea remained part of her routine, but the nature of her visits changed. She no longer went there only to grieve. She went to think, to plan, and to breathe deeply without guilt. The waves no longer mirrored her sadness alone. They reminded her of movement and continuity. She realized that staying silent had protected others more than it had protected her. Strength did not require suffering quietly. It required clarity and self-respect. Infidelity had taken much, but it had also revealed her resilience. Home. She created new traditions. Simple ones. Evening walks. Shared meals without distractions. Moments of presence that rebuilt safety. Her child responded with laughter and trust, unaware of how deliberate those moments were. She forgave herself for staying too long in uncertainty. Forgiveness did not mean excusing betrayal. It meant releasing herself from endless self-blame. Healing demanded kindness inward before it could exist outward. Some days were still heavy. Healing is not linear. But she no longer felt lost inside the pain. She knew where she stood and what she deserved. As she left the bench one afternoon, she noticed something she had not seen before. The same waves that once felt overwhelming now felt grounding. They had not changed. She had. And that realization marked the true beginning of her healing. Time softened the sharpest edges of her pain. Not by erasing the past, but by placing it where it belonged. Infidelity became part of her story, not the headline of her life. She no longer visited the bench every day. Life had grown fuller again, shaped by intention rather than survival. When she did return, it was with gratitude for the strength that place had helped her find. Love, she learned, was not proven by endurance alone. It was proven by honesty, respect, and consistency. She taught this lesson gently, through example rather than explanation. Her child learned what stability looked like, even after disruption. Loss had changed her, but it had not diminished her. It had refined her understanding of herself. She trusted her instincts now. She listened when something felt wrong. Silence no longer felt safer than truth. Healing did not require another person to complete it. It required self-worth and patience. Whether love would return in a new form was a question for another time. For now, she was whole. The sea continued its endless rhythm, unchanged by human pain. Yet it had offered her something valuable. A reminder that endings and beginnings often share the same space. As she walked away from the bench for the last time, she felt lightness instead of loss. The journey through betrayal had been painful, but it had led her somewhere honest. She was still a mother, still learning, still healing. And that was enough.